Never, darling, I don't need this, I'll just project. If I can't fill this room, I don't know what. When they're looking for something, I come in, as an actor, also a voice actor, but then, I come in as a weapons expert, a specialist for swords, European swords, Japanese swords, Filipino swords, and whips, of course, flexible weapons, and things on horseback, and etc. So I send them this and I say, push that button, look at this piece. So I have something that, because everybody says they can do things. Do you know that people lie in this business? Which is very stupid. There's a phrase that says, fake it until you make it. This is not good because anything that has real skills and depth to it, you don't learn overnight. You have to invest the time. I've invested the time. And we'll talk about that as we get outside. So we're going to play just the first two, Swordmaster, Whipmaster, to give you an idea. And then we will go out to the courtyard and we'll demonstrate some different weapons. And then if you guys have any questions, I'm sure that will turn into more demonstrations. So I'm good if you are. So, Monsieur, merci. Maybe I'll give you a little bit of... Okay, this is Jet Li's Fearless. Do we have sound?
Sure.
And can we turn the lights out? Can we start again? Real quick. This was fun. They flew me to Shanghai to partner Jet Li, which was very nice. And Jet Li is very fast. And what was nice is we only used wire once, and we didn't need to. It's just because they planned it. But neither Jet nor I knew this choreography. We had literally made it up moments before. Yen Wuping and his team, very famous. They put together something. We stood up. No sound? Oh well, good pictures. And then Jet and I would get up. And we didn't know the choreography, but between the two of us, we had well over 60 years of experience. So he would move, I would adjust. I would move, he would adjust. And this is at speed. This is how fast Jet is. That's the one time he used a piece of wire. And we could have timed it, but they didn't know because it was our first praise. So he was fun to work with. He may be my favorite dance partner. This is my favorite single-handed weapon. This is a Saber, and he is using the Jin, which is also called the Scholar's Sword. Mine's straight-bladed, and it's a European weapon. It has an edge on one side and the back edge for 1/3. That was my idea, and that was all very cool. And this is from We're Busy Talking. This is from Deadliest Warrior. I was the William Wallace expert. This is 4 feet of razor-sharp steel. We had a demonstration where we were about to cut 3 skulls. Ooh, that seems prophetic. And I said to the guy, how many chances do I have at this? He said 1. So, as we said yesterday, failure's not an option. They called me in because people who weren't used to using sharp weapons and actually cutting things were hurting themselves. So when they went, if anybody hurts themselves with this, they're going to the hospital for a long time. So that was kind of fun. Then we had, this is a Warhammer coming up. They said, you have 2 seconds because we were on a high-speed camera. Can you do it in 2 seconds? And I says, yes. So this is about 1.6 seconds. Whoosh, this one's hard, and a quick flip, and this is terrifying. So I like to train to be able to really do things, because then when you're going to do it for the movies, it's a lot easier. This is why I say, unless it's on camera, it's not a stunt, it's just an unfortunate accident. This is from Secondhand Lions. That is Christian Kane, who is playing the young Robert Duvall. I did all the choreography and flashback sword work for it, and you just watched me there jump in, and that was a double weapon section. This one coming up, I am doubling the Sheik, so it's over my shoulder on Christian. Christian's very good. Christian was in,
leverage. And we put together a fight to introduce his character, which is really cool. Here we are, this is the Mysterious Circle. This was the first time this was ever put on film. This is a unique, this is in Paris. The Eiffel Tower is right back there. You just can't see it because it's pissing down rain. And we basically shot for about an hour and said, to heck with this. So we waited until dark and pumped light through it. And it was wet, it was slippery, it was like fighting on ice. But it was really cool. And Adrian Paul, I think maybe my second favorite dance partner. So this was very nice. This is, again, two weapons. This is rapier and dagger. And this is the European weapon, the rapier and dagger. And I'm using a flamberge. This is using this technique. Oh, this is our wrench. This is the background. We are on what we call the Infinity Deck. This is our backdrop for my instructional DVDs. And I'm just basically illustrating you can do the same thing with a cane, because when men stopped carrying swords around the 18th century, that doesn't mean they were unarmed. They would carry a cane, a stick. Matter of fact, I have one with me when I travel. Usually the cane had a sword inside. So all of these techniques are very useful, and if somebody gets it, they get a surprise, because they get the stick and you have the sword. This is an idea. You can go forward since we don't have any talking. Can you fast forward this a little? Okay. So I have the advantage of distance, obviously. Boom and and boom. So it's just basically he's re-examining his life choices. Okay. This was not a good idea on your part. This is MythQuest. And we're in Vancouver, and that is F. Braun McCash, who was the choreographer for seasons 2 through 6 on Highlander. We had worked together. This is our third time working together, but the first time we got to perform. This is a fellow in Budapest, not Budapest, I'm sorry, Bulgaria. He was the sword master there. I couldn't speak his language, he couldn't speak mine, but as soon as we touched swords, it was like we'd known each other forever, because there was a language. This is John Lennon's youngest son, Sean. This is at the Mission in California. And the song is called "You're Gonna Get What You Deserve." And for a change, I don't die. He does. So that was nice. So here we are using what's essentially 2 rapiers. This is in Spain. In Almeria. This is on the Queen of Swords, Reina de Espada, and I'm doubling the guest star here, doing a 2-on-1. These 2 gentlemen are from France. It was the first time I actually got some doubles to do anything about swords. I was having to train everybody. I don't know what this is from. And again, we have 3 very heavy swords, but I love working with with Dolph. He was wonderful, and here is good. And this is a Zorro commercial. Coming up, they said, can you cut closer to him? And I told my friend, don't move. And was that close enough? It was about an inch from his hat. And this is my first martial art, Saber. I'm the guy stabbing him when he tries to leap in the air. And this is a reminder of what swords can really do. So, ooh la la. Okay, you want to show the whip thing real quick, and then we will go outside. Okay, this is from, More Extreme Marksman. And I convinced them that the whip indeed is a very versatile and powerful weapon. That's my horse Latigo, who is okay. This is my student Kendall Wells. He's doubling the lead on Jack Ryan now in season 2. He's been training with me for, oh golly, almost 15 years. I don't know who that guy is. Okay. This is, I trained him in my method, which I will describe to you. I'm actually disarming, I take that bolo away. As the coordinator asked, could you do that? And I said, okay, give me a minute, I'll figure it out. And yes, we did. Here, you notice I roll and stab. Most people yank and use the muscle in their shoulders. I use the whole body. My accuracy is quite specific. Watch this. It'll cut the wick and leave the flame. We did this on the second take. I said, I never do this. We made this scene up. Michelle got so good. We looked when we got on set, And I said, you know, if you have a whip in one hand and a chair in the other, that says, and she did this, that was our first day of filming, it says lion tamer the world over. So I said, okay, swing in on your rope and dump the, cut the girl, dump this, crack the whip, throw the chair, grab the girl, bring her in, say the line, girl talk, and we were done. We rehearsed it once, shot it twice, and we moved on. So that's what you can do. And this shows you, at long range, the whip is pretty devastating. Just like a sword, I keep myself behind my weapon. That shows some of its cutting power against bare flesh. That's pretty intense. Here's accuracy, and a high-speed camera is pretty cool. Okay, and we were looking at things, what can we possibly do here? So we were making this stuff up, almost on the spot. I said, well, so get some flowers, and they went out and got the worst possible flower. These are carnations. They're very tough. So, bam, here's my buddy Dave Baker, who is on Forged in Fire. He's the judge who makes all the historical weapons on Forged in Fire. He's holding a glass for me. And it's kind of nice to see the whip pass through it and then the glass explode. And I said, okay, now let's do it on horseback. So here's 3 different angles. 1, 2, and 3. That was pretty cool. And then we said, well, let's do a head-to-head. And getting your horse to trust you while you do this is no small thing. Because you always keep your partner safe, whether they're a person or, and there we go. So that's the idea. Let's go outside. A stick. Ooh la la. Okay. One of man's oldest weapons. Okay. Very, very, very useful. I have studied many arts for over 45 years. The longer I study, the more I recognize the foundational, fundamental principles that connect the arts. It's like Bruce Lee says, the ribbons of truth. For example, there are 8 angles of attack. Can I borrow you for just a second? We're not going to do anything difficult. I'm just using you as a le dummy. Okay. Okay. So we have vertical, straight down and straight up. We have horizontal, forehand and backhand. We have descending diagonal forehand, descending diagonal backhand, ascending diagonal forehand, ascending diagonal backhand. Now I can strike and reverse the line. I can come here and come over. I can cut or thrust on all of these lines. You guys see that? Okay. So you will see this repeat over and over again. All right, with that idea. Merci, monsieur. Mary,
A stick?
yeah. Now, initially, okay, the same things that I use with a stick becomes a sword. My favorite one-handed weapon is a saber, a European saber. The genius of European weapons is they come with a hand shield, okay? Some cultures, like the Filipinos, they're in the jungle. This becomes difficult. It catches in the clothing, it catches in the things, so they don't have that. That means they can't sit out here and go, oh, look, he's left his hand open. Oh, merde, it was a trap, okay? You have to keep this in motion, all right? Now, the idea is, if she has a weapon and I don't, it's bad for me to do a couple strikes, and I'll have to move, and I'll have to move. Now, here I'm going to change the direction. Combatively, I'm going to come in and hit her in the face. I'm going to hit her in the nose, I'm going to hit her in the eye, I'm going to hit her in the throat, I'm going to hit her in the shoulder, okay? So when she comes, I'm going to slow her down. Now, from here, what I'm looking to do is turn her hand up. Oh, merci beaucoup. And while this is happening, she turns my hand up right. Now, if I'm in here like this, and she comes in again, I could strike 2 or 3 times. I start to go and she resists, so I change direction. Oh, and now I have it here. And what this relies on is I am isolating the thumb, because what makes us different from the other animals is le pouce, the thumb, right? Okay. So if when she strikes me, straight punch. Here I can strike. This turns into this. this turns into this, which turns into this, which turns into all kinds of other things. You follow? Okay? No, not on this. We get paid for that. All right? But if she comes in here like this, I can just cover up. But her thumb will be on the end of her arm. Okay? And it's like a minuet. I come in, I go out, and I come back in again. And we dance. I come in, here, she takes it away. I come in, and I strike from below. And I do this, and I take it away. Ooh, left hand. You follow? And I could come outside, sorry, and do this, okay? So, all of these things become potential disarms. So if I don't have a weapon and she does, I can take hers, hopefully, if my time is good and I'm fast enough. Now, that turns into the same thing with Lukuto, the knife. I don't know German, sorry. So if Mary is coming here and she's going to cut me, right? 8 angles. Do 8 angles.
Ice pick.
No.
Right. Okay.
So 8 angles. Descending, descending, ascending, ascending, here, here, right? So when she comes in, I'm going to strike and find this. Here's 1.
You sneaky bastard.
Here's 2. Okay, you follow? So if she comes and stabs me here, I'm going to intercept. And when she comes up here, this hand is waiting. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 6, 7, 8, okay, 9, cut me, 10, 11, Mike. You do the same thing to
I
me.
can't do all those.
Because now the idea is, this is called a weapons flow. Come a little closer. You will never do this, man. The idea is you train, hopefully you will never ever have to do this. But rather than just standing there and getting stabbed, if you train yourself to do something, my good friend and student Cersei, he was attacked by multiple people in Paris. One of them tried to stab him. He took it away from him. He didn't think about it. He had trained, and I'm so happy that it was helpful for you. Okay? So, before we do that, we'll do this one more time. So the idea is here, I'm going to make sure I don't get hit. So she can't come here, so she's going to go into the open. This is waiting for her. You follow? Now, I could take the knife. Now it's my turn. You remember this?
No.
Okay.
I remember this one's a block this way. This one's a block
Take
this
one,
way.
sure, and take the knife.
And take the
Good.
knife.
Reverse it.
Ah,
Ice
you
pick.
do an ice pick.
Yes. Now, how many of you heard of the X block? The ubiquitous X block? It doesn't exist. When you study and you study karate, they show you these forms. It's not really an X block, because as soon as one hand is working, the other hand is moving. As soon as this hand is working, here, this hand is moving. You follow? You never stand here, because if I go, ha, she will grab me. Good. Okay. So the idea is this, is if she's coming vertically, I'm going to redirect her. Okay? So looking for camera, I have to read the angle. Oh, this is vertical, so I'm going to get out of the way and let her stab herself. And I'm going to take the knife and go, say. If she comes on a diagonal, this comes here. Now the minute I feel this, I'm going to do this, which controls the edge of the knife and allows me to bring this through and bring it back. And I can do the same thing to her. She reads the angle. That's diagonal. That's it. Put your hand down. Find my thumb. Find my thumb.
Oh, your knife is, but the knife is there, so I need to pass you.
You could. Okay. And now I'm there. So what are you going to do? There you go. Okay. So every time you make a decision, you open another door. You understand? So the idea is you are lost. You're never just there. Okay. And the same things that we just did with the knife. With the stick. So if she was to come at me with here on this side, boom, right? And we did this, we also did this. Right? But if it was the knife, I was here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? I can take this here,
and come back and do whatever I want. Follow? Same thing. All right, stick, knife, doesn't matter. Now, this isn't sharp, and the blade is. With a knife or a sword, I have to control the edge. But you see the idea, yes? Okay, now, watch this. So, a stick is also a sword. All right? Now, these are the 7 saber pairs. It doesn't matter what you call them, because this is ka, or 4, or high inside, or chest, or seigan. If I go to Japanese sword, doesn't matter. Protects the high inside. Now, you have your sword in your scabbard. You're walking down the street, and somebody leaps out, and you go, ha! You create a wall. This is 3 or 1. This is second or 2. This is tierce or 3. This is ka or 4. This is ket or 5. This is 6 or 6. And this is 17 or 7. You're just counting 1 to 7. When I have time, I teach people in Old French because it's very traditional. When I don't have time, I teach people by numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I don't have time to do that, I go, okay, you're standing here like this. Now, the heavier the weapon, and we talked about this with He-Man. Weapons were very heavy, okay? You have to get this to balance, all right? I do lances on horseback. I don't joust. That's a very specific heavy armor style of thing. But even that, in jousting, they traditionally lock it into here like this. But that means when you hit, all of that goes back into you. Later on, time with Napoleon, okay, and then throughout Europe and all the way up until World War I, when machine guns made lances and swords a little bit not effective anymore. This is all balancer. These are light lances, all right? And just like a sword, where I point my thumb, that's where the blade goes, all right? Now, if I'm here like this, this has very little weight when it's vertical. When it goes out here, it becomes very heavy, okay? So if I drop my hand, my tip lifts. That protects the high chest or the outside shoulder. If I lift my hand, gravity does the work for me. So gravity becomes an ally instead of an adversary. You guys see it? Okay? So we do a small exercise that's called X in 4, which means, oh, by the way, all of these positions are power positions. These are called pronated positions where your hand is down, right? Later on, when you're going into small sword, these are supinated positions, very fast, but not very effective. Against that, you can't work with a cut, you can only deflect, right? So I'm essentially using this on horseback. I am not only protecting myself, I protect my reining arm, my leg, my horse's neck, and eye, and over here, and his eye, and his neck, and back here. So these are the parries I teach because I find them more useful, more practical, and I can use them everywhere. Now, if she were to cut my chest, I would build a wall, and I would get behind her. If she was to cut my hip, I would lift my hand. If she comes over here, I go straight across, very easy. And if she comes to the side, I drop my hand here. I cut her hip, she cuts my hip. I do the same for her. So these are called moulins. A moulin rouge, which is wind, right? And head. Okay? And these could be cuts, and these could be thrusts, or whatever. If she comes and cuts horizontal, this is sufficient. Now, this is true of all weapons. Your hand is behind your weapon, your elbow is behind your hand, your body is behind your elbow, and you have strength through structure and skeletal alignment. If I do this, that's where my elbow is. She pushes, it ain't gonna work. But if I do this, oh, it is. But if she steps through and uses the power of her hips, she will crash my parry. So I add skeletal alignment from the lower body. So when we get into two-handed weapons, same thing here. I'm going, oh, here's speed. High, 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 right? Power is this. Swing, whack, and my head, all right, to her head. Same thing here. Watch what happens. I build a wall, and I move until my body's behind me. I build a wall, and I move until my body's behind me. I build a wall, and I move until my whole body faces what's coming at me. and here. And the same thing here and here. Which is starting to become Japanese, or German longsword, or Italian longsword for that matter, okay? You guys see how things transition, right? Okay, now, let's say she has a weapon.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And you're going to attack me over here. Well, just like, okay, here's long range. You saw long range, right? Okay, now, yeah, from long range, I do exactly the same parry, but I shuffle in. Oh, is that what's familiar? So I get to combine both. We can go closer. I get to combine both the build the wall and get behind it, and also the disarm. Those of you, there's someone here who studied Kali and Eskrima. Haha! Okay, this is an old exercise called sombrado. He cuts my head. I block and I touch, okay? Because this becomes a disarm, okay? And then I free her and I go to here. And she blocks and touches, and she could disarm. Or I could come here like this, and this moves here, and this shifts to here. Now, I could add medium range, and then flip up, and then she comes to me, and she'll do the same thing. She could go to free, and pommel, and come to here, and down, and so on. Or I could just take it. Now I have two. Each one of you.
Go get one.
Okay, so now we have a long and a short. A sword and a shorter sword. So it could be, well, it could be katana watadashi, okay? It could be rapier and dagger. It could be, you know, these are about the size of Filipino weapons, which are machetes, or you know, bolos or barongs, or you know, it's the weapon of the of that particular country. It's about this dimension, kind of like a short sword. The advantage to it is you're close enough to be able to hear, and if I were using my fist, I can hit her with my fist, so I can get in here with my checking hand, you follow? But now we have two weapons. So the idea to this is, in many movies, they have two weapons, and they use them both in the same place at the same time, X and 4.
Oh, I have to figure out how to do this. It's stupid.
Yes, yes it is. I have two weapons. The idea to this is called a chambered hand. So if she only has one weapon, I'm going to make her defend this. I'm going to make her defend this. She won't get it. You follow? I will be a move ahead of her. All right. So this is a Filipino pattern. It's called Heaven 6. Heaven 6 because everything rains from heaven. Filipinos are usually a little shorter. Okay. They make themselves even shorter by getting down here. So you can only attack them from one line. So they've already started to choreograph it. You follow? So Heaven 6. So descending, 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 descending. You guys see that? Now, the idea to this is I'm now working in a diagonal, which means she needs to use lower body. Because if she stays in a defensive stance, this will crash her parry. So when she comes to me, if she comes straight at Heaven 6.
Okay, I can't do it.
Wall.
It's stupid.
See, if I come at her like this is European fencing, this is fast but not very powerful. But if I add the lower body, now I'm coming at her like this. She has to move. She has to move. Now notice I have better leverage unless she moves. Now from here I'm going to chase her to the middle. Here and here. She does the same thing to me. I deliver and I move. And I move again. Now she's over here. Oh crap. So I've got to move over here. And the same thing here and here and over here. You guys see that? Okay. So now we're combining things from many nations. This is Filipino. All right. This particular thing here like this, okay, also exists in Japanese. It's called uki nagashi. She comes here with me. I block, replace, and I freeze this sword. Okay. I could be in this position. This is called ipu, where she expects me to block with this one and attack with this one. But in ipu, I actually block with this one and then strike here. It's full of surprises. Okay. If she thrusts me here, this is called iketa. Okay, here like this.
If she strikes over here like this,
This side? Same thing?
this gives her something to think about. So when she goes to block it, this allows me to hit her and gives me a free hand. All right? So the more you study, the more choices you have. But it's still built from the same foundation. You guys see that? Yes? Good. Okay. So we could do a whole lot more of that, but let's do this.
That's the long one. Yes.
Okay, now we go to, there are weapon-specific adjustments that you make for each weapon that reference that particular culture or the nature of that sword, but it's still based on 8 angles of attack and subtle elusive footwork to create superior leverage, okay? With a katana,
I don't have a belt, so shall I just remove it?
yeah, you
I'll move this side.
Well, do we have, use a book? You do the same thing. Okay. Now, very, very small guard. Okay, this is called a tsuba, with a T and an S. I don't make this stuff up. You always have your thumb on this, because if you reach out to grab my tsuba, hey, okay, or if you reach for my sword, I can end. Okay, and what you're facing left is good. All right. Now, one of the things about a Japanese sword is it's slightly curved. The idea to this is it puts more blade on target sooner and longer. A straight blade is percussive. It hits in one place. A curved blade slices. Okay? So that's part of the nature of this. It's also not sharp on this side, which allows you to chiburi noto, which means you put it back without looking. By the way, you never slam this home because there is a seal here that keeps the sword from falling out. But just in case it's loose, you keep your thumb on it. You never work. There are 5. Shall we go through? Let's go through the kamais. Now, we're going to go through. This is called hapa no kamai, which means 8 different positions. Kamais are like in European swordplay. It's called guardias, which are positions from which to launch an attack or a defense. It's neither one, but it's essentially a ready position. So from here, this is chudan, this is geidan, this is waki, this is haso, this is jodan. Move forward, you saw me do some of this stuff when I really didn't know what I was doing as blade. You know, this is geidan, this is kasumi, and back to center guard. On the left side, jodan, all the way down to geidan, to waki, which sets you up to do a rising cut, to haso, to jodan, stepping forward, seigan, seigeidan, kasumi, okay, and back to here. Now, chiburi noto is, they call this chiburi, which means blood flow. Not really. This won't really clean the blade off. What you're actually doing is positioning the sword to return to the saya without looking. You follow? If you've actually got blood all over your sword, you go over to the guy you just killed and you wipe it off on his clothes, and then you put your sword away. Okay? All right. Now, there are 5 draws in our system. There's ippome, which is horizontal draw. So from here, this draws, wraps around, and cuts. And chiburi noto. Okay? Then you have nihome draw, which is draw and cover and cut. That's all one. And then you step forward, and again, left kesa, which is descending diagonal. And chiburi noto. You waiting for me to look? Good. And sanbome, which is rising draw. So this turns all the way over. And you cut, and then you remember to turn your saya correctly, or the sword won't go back in it. And from here, you're stepping forward and cutting. And again, chiburi noto. Yonohonme, 4th one. Same thing, rise and cover, but now it's one-handed cut with the left foot forward, katate, and you've now shifted over to do right kesa. And then geidan chiburi, noto, and finally the last one is hineri, where you reach for my sword, and I turn, and I thrust, block, and cut. And then come back, and chiburi, noto. And I didn't have to look once. Okay?
Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Which means thank you very much. Let's take all of that and apply it to a different weapon. All right, bullwhip. Those of you who were around from yesterday, you heard me mention, bullwhip is the first man-made tool to break the sound barrier. It dates to 3000 BC in both the Chinese and Egyptian cultures that we know of. Every civilization that domesticated animals has had a whip of some sort. And you don't strike the animal. The animal is valuable. It's not necessary. If I need you to move back, you'll move back. Okay? So the sound of the whip. You got good seats? Close enough?
The best.
Okay. Don't worry, I never hit anybody by accident. Very good. Very great. The tip of the whip goes, a .45 caliber bullet is 900 feet per second. The tip of the whip will go up to 1,400 feet per second. It is literally faster than a speeding bullet. And its velocity will cut you to the bone. Mary and I were doing a show. She was pulling cars. We were on horseback. I didn't hit her. I know better. I have to sleep sometime. But my partner, his horse shied on the way down. She got cut. I didn't know because I'd already ridden past her. I cut the flower out of her hand and away we went. We finished that, and we rode by and grabbed lances, and we stabbed targets, and then we did a saber duel, and then she and I did our synchronized bullwhip tango, which we'll do for you in just a moment. And at the end, we're bowing and say, that was a really good show. And she goes, I have to go to the medic. And I went, what? And she goes, eh. And I'm looking, and I can see the bone. I can see the sinews, because it's that fast. So, whenever you work with a partner, you have a great responsibility. Your safety, if I get a volunteer from the audience, is more important than my ego. Okay, I must always take care of my partner, be my partner a human being, or my horse, or both. You follow? Okay, now, who can tell me? Well, you already know. I told you why the whip makes this sound. It shatters the sound barrier. Most people, the traditional way of using a whip, it looks like this. Okay, you have a handle, and then you have what's called the braid or the thong, and you go down to the fall, and then finally the pop-up. The idea to this is it's a continuous taper. So all energy introduced to the whip, oh, here's one for you because you're very nice. All energy introduced to the whip is multiplied. That is its great gift. The curse of the whip is all energy is multiplied. So if you do conflicting signals, the whip will behave very erratically. And if you irritate it enough, it'll come back and hit you. Okay? I find it's a soft energy. It's like a feminine energy. Okay? Very, very smart, very, very powerful, and don't piss me off. Okay? We are partners here. You know, it's not all about you. So it is very, very useful. The traditional manner, you guys are just out of range, looks like this. And I make a big noise and big whoop. Anybody can make a big noise with a whip. That's what it's designed to do. You will notice it has this belly, this internal spine like a snake. In the traditional manner, I'm actually pushing energy uphill so that it can run downhill. And you notice the whip doesn't particularly like that, so I have to force it because I am a man. All right? And I go, well, that doesn't make any sense. If I turn this over, I form this alignment loop immediately. And you notice this rolls and pours. Okay, you follow? So, would you like to be my lovely whip assistant for a moment? Would you like to volunteer? That's crazy, Dad. Do I have to? No, you don't. Don't worry. Do you want to? I'll let you crack the whip afterwards. Very quickly. Anthony. I know, Greta, we met earlier. You were very lovely, and thank you for your courage. Okay, you're going to stand right there. Over there. Good. Okay, we have a headwind, of course. You're going to stand very still. Okay, now how do I keep Greta safe? Greta and I are standing inside a railroad track, all right? in my system, my elbow forearm, hand, and handle are on the railroad track. Because the loop is outside my hand, the loop is outside the railroad track. Therefore, everything inside the railroad track with Greta and me is safe. No matter how close I get, because I'm always going down the railroad track. Very nice. Now, that's true. Big hand for Greta. Okay, now, how many angles of attack are there? You mean take 2 steps back. Back a little bit. Back just a little bit. Almost done. Good stuff. All right, now, there's verticals, right? There's also diagonal. I'm out of range. Forehand. This is how far away from you I am. Okay? So there's the 2 diagonals, forehand and backhand. And there's 2 horizontals, forehand and backhand. And there's the rising diagonals. Of course, in the rising verticals, which is more fun on guys because it's the okay. Now, I do the same thing. I always go down the railroad tracks. Put your hands over your head. Like this. Good. Don't move. Now, I'm going to do the same thing. Most people stay there. I'm out of range. Most people do this like this. Okay. Well, that's very user unfriendly. All right.
And
not fair to my partner who's trusting me. Instead, I'm going to go down the railroad track. You ready? You notice how soft it is? It goes past you. Roll in. Counterclockwise. Roll in. No, other way. Other way. Good. We'll do it again. Ready? Here we go. And this goes past her. Down the railroad track. Spin. Spin. Good. And when you get older, your parents will say, "Oh, it's like this." Spin out. What this allows me to do is, Mary, actually bring your whip. Yeah, bring the whip. What do you want? As you can tell, we're not over rehearsed. All right, give me a target to hold the handle. So, when I want to hit something, I simply put the target on the railroad track and then I run it over with my supersonic train. Okay? I don't, of course, okay? I don't stand over here and hope for the best. I move over, okay? So here's my vertical, and whether it's a simple direct throw like this, or whether it's a compound throw like this, or whether it is a, what I call the trebuchet, you will notice this is a little bit like a catapult. Push and roll. And you'll notice also, instead of yanking backwards, which is your chance to come and get me, I am staying behind my whip. Okay? And if there's an opening, the chance is actually harder for you to get to me. Now, this allows me to, if I'm out of range, okay, if I'm out of range, is it tied? Good. Okay, so if I'm out of range, I cannot give her the target. If she has a target there, I can take the target out of her hand, okay? Or I can go past her. You notice how I'm going past her. It's cracking and then it's wrapping, which allows me to do the other angle. Which allows me to do the other angle, which allows me to do this side, right? Or this side, right? Or I can go down around the legs, which I can pull her legs out from underneath her. Higher hand. I can go down the railroad track. She can turn sideways.
Okay.
Well, power prayer. Okay. Okay, so I can wrap her hands, or I can wrap her neck. And you're wondering, how did we meet? And Mary is very, very good. So good that I will hold targets for her. We play a little game, and I am going to take this newspaper, and she is going to cut it.
And I will keep holding it until you tell me I can stop. This looks like a pretty bloodthirsty group.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ready
so.
whip.
Huh?
Okay, there. Have to warm up. Haven't cracked the whip in a week.
Let me put you there, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then you stay good. And you guys, can you all see? How's the wind? Not too bad.
Not bad.
All right. So, you tell me when I can stop. Now, there's a couple things going on here. First, she has to be accurate. She has to be close enough to hit this, but not so close that she's going to hit me.
Yeah.
Normally, I wear a cowboy hat. I'm not stupid, but I trust my wife. I can stop? No! I always get that. Do it again. Don't beat it, cut
It's
it.
blowing.
There you go. Okay, I can stop now, right? No, okay, you better. Just keep going one and then another. Good, okay, well done. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Good. Ooh. Now, what she is doing is forming the loop and following the handle. Just like a sword, your handle sets the angle of the blade. So if she keeps the handle vertical, she will pass down between my hands. Just kidding. Do that one. Put it right there, right in the V. Thank you. And stop. Good. Cool. There we go. Dr. Mary Longis. How much room? You over there, I'll be over here? Okay. This is how far we can reach. You can stay there, or you can take one step back. All right. Now you have to imagine there's tango music playing. Okay?
We have to,
Yeah,
we
don't
have
worry
to do the
about it.
targets.
So you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. It's called the no peeking. Here's our angles. You guys have good seats? Good. And I like to do body wraps around myself. I suppose that says something about me. Good. And thank you for playing. Good. We like to dance with this.
Where you at?
Too much. Questions, or you want to take a little break because I know you have something at 3 o'clock?
I have
Yes, sir.
yesterday you told about the opportunity of the whip in comparison to a sword, like it's on two sides of your body at the same time, like a sword which is behind you and in front of you.
Right, okay. A couple things we're talking about. Now, the idea is,
You ask, you volunteer. I'm behind you.
It was nice
I'm gonna
meeting you.
get
if you like. Now, To me, this is a supersonic blade, okay? So, and I am rolling and stabbing as opposed to yanking and putting the whip behind you, okay? But I still have those same 8 angles. You were out of range, right? So, rather than doing this, most people go, I will eat the pain and then come and get you. Well, if you walk forward, I'm going to walk backwards. And you'll notice, you want to walk into that? Oh, now's your oh, there's your track. All right, you follow? So from long range, you believe me that this is, you know, and I can adjust my disc no matter where you move. And if you cover up your face, cover your face. I'll go to your body. Okay? If you cover up your body, I'll go somewhere else. But I'm using the same structure as with this. Now, if you were to come forward, I just pick this up slowly. Okay, now from here, it's like I have a double garden hose. So the same 8 angles of attack that I have, right? Plus, I also have this lovely handle. So I can do this. Yeah, slowly right hand, left hand. Oh, one more time. So here's another thing. If you come running in to get me, slowly, I will be waiting. All of this work that I did with Dan Inosanto with the baton, okay, if he throws a punch, slowly. Bang! I just broke his hand. Throw the other hand. Bang! I just broke his hand. Throw a hook. If I catch, now I can strike here, and here, and come up the center. Go down here like this. And at any point, I can tie him up. If you throw the right hand, I can catch it, and I can also catch it. He only has one more place to punch him. Good, go ahead. Do this, and now I'm back here, okay? Which is better for me and bad for him, okay? If he throws a kick, bang! I can also catch it and pick up again. It's also bad for you. So, anything you have studied will find very eloquent voice in the whip, all right? This I just kind of figured out. Other things, it goes into submission, it goes into traps, it goes into strikes and everything. And a big hand for you, and thank you for your trust. Well, don't tell me that. Oh, well, here's something else too, right? So from long range, this is very good. From medium range, you saw this is just double guard. My friend likes to there are lots of different ways. I also have the baton. Also, who likes nunchucks? Who doesn't like nunchucks, right? You like nunchucks? Well, the same thing I can do with this. I never understood that one. It seemed like a terrible idea. But I can always tuck this in, bring it here like this. I can also let this out a little more, and it becomes like a rope dart. Those of you who studied rope darts, or like a rope dart. Okay? And out it comes, and I can use it like a flail, pick it back up again, and once again, it's a whip. And I, good, and we're done with the whip now because this is why, for Masters of the Universe, I said, please take pictures of me using the whip so you see how the whip flows. Then when you animate the whip, it looks like a whip and not like something from another world. Cool. Mary and I, we thank you very much. We are having a wonderful time with you. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your curiosity. And come up, more signing, more conversation. Are we trying to look at the film again tonight? If you would like, maybe beers and a little something, and we will watch, and I will tell stories as I remember.
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
So we will do that tonight.
Yeah.
Is Kenneth here? Ken? No?
Ken is not.
Ken has a panel at 9 o'clock. Ken's artwork is really wonderful. Well, I'm finally getting time to go around and look at everything. So I will see you around, and we will see you later. And again, thank you very much. Dr. Mary Longis.
Whoa.